Morning, Chem Studs. Welcome back from spring break. Here I am in my new office, which we also call the kitchen at our house. I guess it's kind of fitting, probably, that a chemistry teacher sets up camp in the kitchen, the closest thing I have to a lab. Hope everybody had a good spring break. Spring break here was kind of an unusual spring break, as I'm sure it probably was for you as well. We played a lot of games because that's something that our family really enjoys doing. Uh, Worked a lot on unpacking. I'm embarrassed to say that we still had a good number of boxes that needed unpacking after our move way back in October. If we emerged from here and we still haven't moved all of our stuff out of boxes, we really have something to be ashamed of. Strangely enough, we did some kayaking. We have a channel in our backyard, and we took the kayaks out and banged around in the ice. Luckily, nobody fell in. Our neighbors thought we were nuts, but it was nice to get out of the house for a little while. And I think, like everybody else, spent a little bit of time adjusting to what's a very, very different lifestyle for us. We're typically a very busy family. As you guys know, my kids are involved in just about anything you can be involved in. And being without that constant running here and there and here and there has definitely been a real adjustment for us. But in some ways, we've settled into it quite nicely. It's been nice to slow down a little bit, spend some time as a family. But at the same time, really miss the hustle and bustle of everything going on. And I can say I sincerely miss coming to Neenah High School. I miss seeing all of you every day. I think probably the greatest part of this job is getting to be part of that energy at Neenah High School, being around young people, and this doing all the work from home in isolation and not getting to have that reward of spending time with you guys definitely makes it a little bit more challenging. But this is the world we live in now, and like every other challenge in life, this one has to be embraced, tackled, and we have to move forward. So, first of all, I want to issue some sincere apologies for the Unit 7 test experience. Although absolutely nothing that happened was within our control because it was entirely issues on Schoology's end. I still feel terrible about the amount of time it took some of you to do that. That was really meant to be just a way for you to complete 4 problems, show me what you've learned about stoichiometry, and allow us to move forward. So I really feel terrible about all the chaos that surrounded that, but many calls to technical support and other things yielded that there was really nothing that we could have done differently on our end. So I thank you for your patience and your diligence in getting through that. There are more than 81 versions of that test out in the world because it was being made by a random test generator. And those bits and pieces are now stored, some of them on Schoology, some of them in a Google Doc, some of them in my email. And we are going to ask for a little bit of help sorting out that mess. It's obviously going to take us a little while to get this graded because it is in such a chaotic state. So again, that's going to require a little patience on my part, a little patience on your part. But today, one of the things I'd like you to do is complete a real quick Google form, basically telling me where's your test. Were you successful at getting it completely submitted on Schoology? Is it in a Google Doc like we did yesterday afternoon? Did you have to email parts and pieces of it to me, or is it in a combination of those places? Because I've got to find all of the bits and pieces and put everybody's test back together. In terms of feedback, reassessment, things like that, Mr. Fike and I are working our way through that. We're obviously living in a very different world with a very different set of parameters than what we've ever dealt with before either. And in that regard, we're working together and trying to kind of brainstorm some ideas. So those are some questions I can't really answer at this point in time, but we will get some answers to you as soon as we get to the point of being ready. As for today, it's time to make a brand new fresh start with this. We're going to head down the path of nuclear chemistry. Nuclear chemistry is a great choice at this point in time for a couple of reasons. One of which is that people tend to like this. They tend to find this very interesting. I think it can very successfully be done from home. Nuclear chemistry doesn't require any kind of prior knowledge at all, and therefore every single one of you stands a chance of being very successful if you're willing to put some work into this. Um, so regardless of whether chem study has been really easy for you, if chem study's been a little bit more of a challenge, I want you to think of today as a new start. Um, Nuclear chemistry is fascinating. We're going to be watching bits and pieces of a movie, and eventually we will watch the whole thing, although not at once, called Twisting the Dragon's Tail. It is the one and only movie that I have found that I think is worth watching in its entirety in my classroom. We would watch this whether you were at home or if we were back all together, because it's just such a fascinating story of the history of uranium and what its impact has been on society. So today is kind of your fresh, brand new start with this. It's my fresh, brand new start with this. The unit will be designed to be delivered via digital instruction, which is part of where we got in trouble with Unit 7, is that we started in the classroom and then very suddenly here we were in a digital model. But Unit 8, we are designing entirely to be delivered in a digital format, and I think that will clean things up a little bit. Today's primary task is going to be kind of getting organized. We're going to have you get your digital learning portfolio organized, give us some information about the Unit 7 tests so we can start processing those, and then take a real quick radiation exposure survey to find out what are some sources of radiation in your daily life. And then during our next round of day ones and day twos at the end of this week, we're going to be looking at some internal structure of the atom that we need in order to understand the nuclear science. And then early next week, we'll get going on our Twisting the Dragon's Tail movie. Just want to kind of remind you guys to please stay in touch. Drop an occasional email. I'm out here, and I will do whatever I can to be supportive of what you need. If there are circumstances that are causing you to need some different deadlines and such, I would certainly encourage you, reach out, let me know. And also reach out to one another. We're very accustomed to being together. We're accustomed to interacting. And I think there aren't too many people out there right now that aren't pretty happy to hear from somebody else. So keep in touch with me. Keep in touch with one another. Remember your accountability partners out there in the world. There are going to be assignments from time to time where you are going to have to interact with them. So make sure you're reaching out to them. If you're having trouble finding a partner, reach out to me. I will end up with all the people who don't have partners, and we can start to buddy you guys up as well. So most importantly, stay safe, stay healthy, and good luck. Keep in touch, and I really do miss you, and I'm sorry that this is how we're arriving back from spring break, but this is our reality, and we will make the very best of it. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.